Hello, my beautiful beloveds. Y'all, I am so excited. I've never gotten to interview an author before for one of our book club books. And when this lady agreed not only to, send me a copy of the book, but also, well, I bought it on Amazon. But when I told her about it, and then she was like, oh yeah, I'll do an interview. I was like, wait, what? You will? I'm so excited. So without further ado, Kelly, would you introduce yourself and tell my Patreon community about you?
I will. It's so nice to be here and join you. I am Kelly Radi. I'm based out of Minnesota. I like to call it God's country. And I am the author of 2 books. And the one we're discussing today is called Out to Sea. And it's the Parent Survival Guide to the Freshman Voyage. There it is. And really, this book is everything you need to know while you're planning and the pre-work as they launch. And I like to use the launch analogy, the nautical theme, and after they launch, because all of these are different phases and it's all a period of adjustment for not just the students, but the parents and families left behind.
Absolutely. So of course I devoured the entire book, and as my Patreon community knows, I have been in and around higher ed for 30 plus years. So I wouldn't say that I was like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Like so much of this I knew, but it's because I'm in and around higher ed. But this is exactly what parents who aren't familiar with higher ed need to know. And at one time, I had a program called Good to G.R.I.T, and GRIT is an acronym that I use a lot. And I had like a companion course for students and for parents. And right now, I'm really only focused on debt-free degree. And so that one is right now on the back burner. And I don't know that I'll ever do it because this was so good, Kelly. And this is like, okay, this is what we need. Number one, I love the theme that it's carried all the way through. The other thing that I absolutely love is you talk about anchors and sails, and I would always talk about roots and wings. And
exactly same concept.
Wings are it is similar, but I really honestly I like anchors and sails better. So can you kind of talk to our Patreon community about anchors and sails and what that means to you and how you use that in the book?
Absolutely. It's we've heard the roots and wings before, but anchors and sails, I think one important piece of this transition, this launch process, is for parents to understand you're not obsolete. Yes. Your job is not finished when you drop them off on move-in day. But think about when kids are younger. This was a great analogy actually taught to me by my sister-in-law. When kids are younger, toddlers or a little bit older, how they might be off playing, but they'll run back to where usually mom is and say, hey, look at this toy, or come and just touch you and go back to what they're doing. My sister-in-law dubbed that, they just had to come anchor. I thought that's brilliant. Yeah. They're fine. They didn't need feedback. They didn't need advice. They didn't need anything other than to know that somebody was there for them.
Yes.
That is not uniquely toddlers, folks. It's what college students need too. And through this time of transition, we're so used to kind of handling things as parents and being in the know and telling them what to do and how to do it. But through this transition, we're wanting to give them the skills. If you think about launching off to college like a new sailor, they're protected through high school. They're in the dry docks in the high school as a young sailor. They go off to college, they're in the harbor. It's still protected. It's a little bit safe, but they're getting their feet wet. They're having to make decisions. They're given tools, communication tools. They're attending classes. They're learning new ways of doing things so that hopefully in 4 years, they're ready to set sail into the big ocean.
Absolutely.
And it's giving them all the tools they need, always knowing they can come back and anchor.
Yes.
We're giving them a soft place to land. We're giving them the foundation of faith and family and knowledge, but they need to go off and practice it. So you're giving them the sails to go do it, the skills and the tools. They're sailing away, but they always know they can come back to you with a phone call for advice, to anchor, not maybe even needing anything, but just to have that touch point with you, to
Yes.
know somebody's got their back as they're learning all these new things, as they're
Yes.
learning to set sail. We'll end it on a
Yes.
nautical. How's that?
Yes, yes. Well, and honestly, I've used the analogy of helicopters. I've used the analogy of the snowplow. I've used the analogy of the bulldozer. Loved all of that. And of course, in so doing, because I'm such a wonderful professional, when I took that quiz, I was like, oh, I'm going to do good on this quiz. Well, I did answer yes to one question, which and I think your response, it was like if you scored 1 to 2. It was something, it was really nicely worded, but it was something along the lines of, you still are edging around the boundaries or something like that. And the one I answered yes to was, do you call or text your child every day? And I sure did. Every day I would text something. I mean, I just wanted an emoji, or just,
you needed to anchor.
I did. And so my son actually said to me, I don't need to hear from you every day, and I'm not going to answer you every day. And so if there's something really going on, then that's fine. But otherwise, it took him, I think he was in his 3rd semester before we had this conversation. And again, it wasn't like it was incessant, and maybe it wasn't everything, but it was a lot. It was too much. It was
more frequently than he needed. You might have needed it, but he didn't.
I did. And I needed him. Yes. I needed to know that he knew that there was some roots there, that there was the anchor still
the
there.
Anchor.
And also, I love that you said, parents, when your kids launch, you're not obsolete. And I think that may have been a little, he's my only one. And I think
it's hard. Anybody who says it isn't, I don't get it. It's hard. And I think it's giving them grace, as you have to remember, they're off learning all the new things and new ideas and ways of doing things and lifestyle and living arrangements, all in addition to classes and the classroom knowledge. Whereas we're still in the same place, crying over the empty bedroom. And, for me, my moment was at the grocery store. It was after we launched our first daughter, and I cried over a box of cereal. Post Great Grains with pecans brought me to my knees. Because that's when it hit me, is I'm not buying these for her right now. And so you have to understand it is an emotional time, and give yourself the grace too. Give them the grace as they're navigating and figuring it out. But as parents, we have to give ourselves the grace too. We're going to mess up, and it's okay.
My story was, I dropped him off, and we went, set up his room, and of course, boys are so much easier to set up in a dorm.
So different.
So different. So, we rented the bin, and like everything, like it wasn't even overflowing, like everything fit in the bin. It was fine. We went up to his room.
Can't even imagine.
It was just, and he said, and I had said to him, whenever you're ready for us to go, we will go. And so, but he let me do all the things, like make the bed, and so we had several hours, honestly, and then we went to lunch, and so anyway, he finally says, "Yeah, Mama, I think it's time for y'all to go." And I said, "Okay, absolutely." And I could cry thinking about this, because it was 5 years ago, but it was like it was yesterday. So he was in like a dorm, like one of those 4-bedroom, it was a kitchen, and so he shut the door almost like it was like it felt like an apartment. It didn't feel exactly college-ish. It felt like he was in an actual apartment. So he shut the door, and I start crying. And my husband had parked our car across the street in this little gravel parking lot. And he said, "I'll go grab the car, and then I'll come back around and get you." So I'm standing out and like on the side of the dorm in this little cul-de-sac, this little drive-through thing. And so Mike pulls up, and as I'm walking to the car, I don't see that there's a step, and I face planted. I mean, I got a cut on my knee. I got scrapes on my hands. My phone went skittering. And I am so extroverted. And so this little, one of the like orientation leaders, or, one of the people that's helping people move in, she comes running over. "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I was sobbing so hard. I couldn't even answer. I literally could not even acknowledge this poor child that was trying to be so kind to me. And my husband goes, "She'll be okay. She'll be okay." I mean, and then like halfway home, I just start busting out laughing. And I was like,
do you even believe that happened?
He just flashed, and Mike was like, "It's not funny." It was not funny because he saw it happen and he still can't laugh about it. But I can remember this range of emotion of, I'm devastated, but then I just made a complete and total idiot of myself. And, talk about humbling.
It
So
is.
thankfully it wasn't in front of
But
him.
it is. I would say it's bittersweet anyway. I mean, each of the mixed emotions, aside from the injury, if you take a step back, we're thrilled. Our children have the opportunity to attend a college. I mean, this is huge. It's exciting and it's wonderful. And we're terrified.
Yes.
Because we're sure they're not ready. We're sure they don't know all the things they need to know to do it successfully. And
right.
So it's this mixed bag of emotions to begin with. Gosh, I remember walking out. We did all the things and got her set up and moved in, and it's time to go. And remember gritting, this is for the firstborn, gritting my teeth, walking down the steps, going out the red brick building, walking across the road to the car in the parking lot. And I remember, like, every fiber of my being was, I want to turn around. I want to run back in up those 3 flights of stairs and just to hug her one more time. It's like, this is my baby. I taught her how to pump her legs on the swing. This is my baby.
Right.
And it was my husband, Marty's hand. Like, he had me in, I call it the death grip. Like, he had my hand so tight walking across that parking lot. And that is the only thing that kept me from whipping around in the middle of the street and running back.
Yes.
We had a 5-hour drive home.
Wow.
And
I just had
heard
I can't imagine.
Pin drop. And I kind of sideways look on the side of my eye at Marty. He's got tears. He's not outwardly crying. He's got some tears.
Yeah.
I'm over there, snorting and
like
a mess.
Right.
It was the most somber 5-hour car ride you've ever been.
Yes. The other thing, honestly, that I love about this book, well, it's so chock full of resources. Like it's not, it is theoretical. And so that's fabulous, but it is so incredibly practical. And, like your list of words of affirmation. And what I really, really love is your packing list. Not only do pack these things, but don't pack these things. And that was super helpful. But I really want to talk about, because I've never seen this anywhere and it was not in my grit class. I had never even thought about it. And it's your phenomenal appendix on care packages. And so talk to us a little bit about the care packages, and I especially love the President's Day one. Can you tell my community about the President's Day one?
Okay, I will. So the backstory of care packages. So when I was writing the book, I interviewed so many students. I was the lady in mom jeans sitting in the student unions across the country interviewing students. And I got so lucky. I got to sit down with a group of RAs, and that's the resident assistants.
Yes.
It's like the leadership, the cream of the crop of the students in the residence halls. They're the leaders, and got to sit down with them. And I'm like, give it to me straight.
Yeah.
We talked about homesickness. We talked about just engaging in the resident community. And I said, what can parents do? From a parent perspective, what can we do to help our students adjust in those first months in that first year? And they're like, send care packages. I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah. They said, we can actually see a mood change when they get that pink slip and have to run down to the mailroom and get their care package. And it's like a hug in a shoebox.
Oh.
And it was consistent across the board with all the RAs. And who knew we could pack that much power in a shoebox?
That's right.
It doesn't have to be expensive. And I'm just opening up the book here just to glance at a few here. It's been a while since I've looked through these. I am a bit of a care package mama. I love to send them. It's more fun if they're themey. And it doesn't have to be expensive. You can go to the dollar store, you can go to your Target or wherever. And homemade cookies always go very well.
Yes.
You said the President's Day one.
Yes.
The presidential greetings from home.
Do what?
Was it the presidential greetings from home?
No, it's the one that when you send pictures of presidents, but in the form of
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I did it on President's Day, and
Yeah.
I sent little notes, and I kind of wrote silly things as if the president were saying it. You could pull quotes, but it was a $1 bill, a $5 bill, a $10 bill, and a $20 bill. So that was a more expensive care package, but still, for what is it, $36?
Right.
It was,
It's
they
genius.
get to go out with some friends and go out to dinner and use it for whatever, but there's so many fun ones. You can pick any holiday.
Yeah.
Probably the one that got the best response when they first went off, we did a You're Blue. We're blue without you.
Yes.
And I decked it out. And actually, I've been interviewed on Minneapolis Twin Cities TV stations on that one, because it got some pretty neat press. But anything blue, it's that simple. Or sunshine in a shoebox.
Yeah.
Anything yellow.
Anything yellow. Yeah. 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 And my son is a words of affirmation, like that's his love language. And so so gifts necessarily he wouldn't necessarily love that, but he would love exactly getting a care package, number one, and also whatever I wrote in there would be meaningful to him. But I will have to say, Kelly, I have to admit, of course, he was 45 minutes away, so it
makes a difference.
It's not like he was, states away, but I didn't send him a care package the whole 4 years he was there. And now
he doesn't know any different.
Now I'm like, oh, I really, I wish I would have, but I have
to do it now.
Nieces and nephews, and so they'll get care packages.
We had fun doing it. We our one daughter was studying abroad and then came back and was missing the Czech Republic where she studied. Well, I found a local store that had Czech items. And so, European chocolate bar or just around the world kind of things. And, that was kind of a fun thing to do. It's fun for you to send them. And you are really just putting a little bit of love. You can personalize it with notes. And
yes,
you have to understand, I was the mom who packed lunches for school and wrote notes in Sharpie on the banana in the lunchbox. So that's my love language too.
Oh, that's perfect. That is perfect. That is perfect. Well, I also was really unaware of the medical amnesty when you were talking about setting boundaries, and that was just so critical. But in terms of the medical amnesty and how implementing that program meant that folks could call, if they had too much to drink, or their buddy had too much to drink, but they were underage. So can you talk a little bit about that and how you learned about that, and maybe how you've seen that implemented? Or
Sure. And so what you're referencing, just for clarification, is it's involving alcohol and substances. So if there's an underage person who is intoxicated to the point where there's concern, but then, you can think about all the bad things that can happen. And heaven knows, as parents, we do. But if they're at a party and someone has had so much, perhaps alcohol poisoning, not doing well, when everybody around him's underage, nobody was wanting to call in to get the medical assistance, the ambulance, whatever the case may be, the RA help, because they didn't want to go down with the ship. Well, people started to figure this out, and there is medical amnesty, and it's not in every state. That is something to note. I haven't researched it in the last 6 months now to see who's added it and who hasn't, but it's definitely worth looking into in the state where your student is going to school. And if nothing else, just open up that conversation. And that is, as you know, a big theme of this book. Talk about issues with your student before their issues.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Talk about alcohol. Don't just say don't drink, because guess what? That's not the most effective.
That is.
Especially not in that culture. But have the conversation. What do you do if your roommate is so intoxicated that they can't just lay down and go to sleep? It could be life or death. And explain to them what life or death means.
Right.
We had a neighbor who lost their daughter. She got sick after drinking too much and asphyxiated. And it's a real thing. And I'm not, we don't want to scare them too much, but that's reality.
Right.
And so the amnesty piece is in those states, underage, you can pick up the phone, call 911, get help. You must stay with that person. You can't call 911 and run away.
When I read that, I thought that was
person.
curious. And that to me is also was the beautiful part of it too, is because it's like, yes, call 911 and also stay with them so
Protect
that
the
they are
person.
okay. And it's like,
Yep.
it's like a built-in sort of buddy system, even though maybe
Oh, that's a
everybody's
great
functional or whatever.
analogy.
But yeah,
Mhm.
I thought
Yeah,
that
and
was
then what
great.
happens is the law enforcement, they'll stay in contact with the person who called in order to share information, and maybe if there's a really big situation, they can get them help too,
Right.
But it's about, don't be afraid to call for help, because you might get in trouble.
Yes.
You'll be
Yes.
fine. Do
Yeah.
the right thing. Get your friend the help they need. Stay with your friend. We got you. It's really what it says.
Yeah.
And I don't know the actual statistics, but lives have been saved because of this.
It would have to be.
Countless
It would
lives.
have to be. Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
it's taking the responsibility. And I'm going to circle back. Communicate. Talk about issues before they're issues.
Exactly. It also, you talked about at the very beginning, parents are not obsolete. Having these conversations before they go to college, that's important, but continuing them. It's not like you have all the conversations before they go off that freshman year and you never, or I also like that word, use of words. So before their first year rather than freshman year, I liked how you talked about that. And so parents are not obsolete, and we need to continue having
Not
those.
a one and done.
So, yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you again for joining my Patreon community to talk about this. Is there any last thing that you love to impart to parents that I didn't ask, or something that you want to do a deeper dive on, or something that you want to leave our parents with today?
I want parents to know, I'm going to reiterate, you're not obsolete. It is a challenge. College is not high school. That's how we're used to being able to go online and know what they had for lunch and get missing report cards and missing assignment reports. And we're so used to being in the know. And it's really important for parents and students to realize college is not high school. It's not going to look or feel or taste or smell the same. And to embrace that, let go a little bit, which circles us back to anchors and sails. You are not obsolete. You'll be the anchor, but you want your student to figure some of these things out on their own in order to find success, because we learn also from our mistakes.
Yes.
Students going to make mistakes. You're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, you learn more. You remember when you take a test and you miss 2 questions, you'll never forget those 2 answers.
That's exactly right.
We learn more from the speeding ticket than we do when we don't. We learn from these things. And I just think it's giving your student the opportunity to learn. Maybe not so much for you. We're there to help jump in. If you truly can see your student tanking, I'll use that word, understand we want to give them the opportunity to make decisions. We don't want to micromanage. We want to give them the sails.
Right.
There's a but here. The but is nobody knows your child like you do.
That's right.
We can get so wrapped up in helicopter parenting and all the negative labels that we don't want to step in when our gut is telling us you need to step in.
Yeah.
Because mental health is a real thing.
Yes, that's critical.
And I think it's just really important to give them the sails, but if and when there's a time where with every fiber of your being that they're in trouble, then you need to step in.
Just step in.
You need to give yourself permission to call. I recommend going to the Dean of Students' office for guidance. These folks at the university are trained on helping college students. And so they maybe can't tell you things due to laws and protections, FERPA and HIPAA and all that, but they can hear you. They can do a well-being check. They can connect your student with particular services.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
and that's a whole separate topic. It's in the book, but when you know a lifeline needs to be sent, don't be afraid to be that lifeline.
Good, good, good.
How's that for a close, huh?
Excellent. So y'all go grab this book. Kelly, thank you so much for being here with our community. We appreciate you deeply. And I also am excited to introduce our Patreon community to your other book. So y'all be looking for that interview as well. So thank you.
Can I give you one tip? I just
please.
sold out of every single book currently in my warehouse for out to sea. So if folks are interested, come to my website. I have some at home that I will personally sign and sell to you from me and mail them to you. But if you try to go to the warehouse through Amazon, there might be a few scattered around, but if it says not available, find me. I'll get you a copy.
Wow. Excellent. Excellent. That's great to know. Wow. And congratulations to you on that.
That was kind of a big sale. I had a university buy a copy for every single incoming first year family.
Wow.
And they wiped out my warehouse, which is a really great problem to have.
Yeah. So are you going to either print more or do like an updated edition and
the jury's out yet. This was the third printing.
Okay.
And I think I am still trying to discern if that's the path we're going to take.
Okay.
Or if I'm taking a new direction. So stay tuned.
Okay. Well, listen, if there's a new edition, let us know. We'd love to have you back. If there's a whole new book and you decide to update it and call it something different, then please, please, please let us know.
Will do.
We can let the community know. So again, thank you, Kelly. I'm just so deeply grateful for you and your friendship and just the wisdom that you speak into parents' lives. So we appreciate you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.